Episode 1, The Spider in the City. Once upon a time, long before traffic lights blinked red and green in Onitsha and before the hum of tricycles echoed through the cracked-tarred roads of ABA, the world was young and scattered with fragments of wisdom. In those days, wisdom was not concentrated in one place, it was free, floating like early morning mist between mountains, hidden in the laughter of children, in the rhythm of the market drums, and in the silence of the evening moon. But one creature looked at all this with greedy eyes, the cunning and ever-calculating spider, known in the East Igbo tongue as Ujoko, the one whose name sounded like secrets. Ujoko had always been a city spider. He was born in a crack near the ceiling of a tailoring shop in Nnewi, fed on the dust of gossip, and sharpened his wit on the sharp tongues of traders who knew how to slice words like onions. From his woven web above a rusty ceiling fan, he listened to the arguments of philosophers and the secret meetings of business owners. And over time, he became obsessed with the one thing that could make him not just smart, but invincible total control of all wisdom. Imagine if I, Ujoko, the eight-legged prince of Nnewi, could gather every drop of wisdom from across the world. Who would challenge me? He whispered one night, his eyes glinting like headlamps in the dark. He began to hatch a plan that would shock both men and gods. He would collect every fragment of wisdom, street knowledge, ancestral proverbs, scholarly secrets, even the silent wisdom of women and the stubborn knowing of children, and trap it in one place. His place. To begin, Ujoko needed something to store the wisdom. He crawled through the streets and alleys until he found an old okra seller named Mama Ozioma, who always sat by the roadside Nyanko market, under a massive almond tree. She was known to chew bitter kola and mutter things like, "A man who steals wisdom forgets that wisdom also watches." Ujoko admired her mind. He watched her for days, learning her routines. Then, one chilly morning, he dropped from the almond tree right into her calabash of kola nuts. With swift precision, he enchanted it. "Let this be my sacred god," he chanted in a low hiss. "Let it drink all wisdom, one drop at a time." Then began his journey. Ujoko traveled in secret. He entered university libraries at midnight, crept into lecture halls while professors dozed, and drank from the books. He eavesdropped on elderly meetings in village squares where the elders recited ancient truths while sipping palm wine. In Lagos, he climbed into law courts and sucked the words of the tongues of essayants and judges. In Oka, he sat behind professors and downloaded their knowledge into his calabash. Even in churches, mosques, and shrines, Ujoko slithered through cracks, capturing verses, revelations, prophecies. The god began to glow softly, like the screen of a phone under a wrapper in the night. With every wisdom he collected, Ujoko became prouder and more distant. He spun himself gold-threaded web hammocks in hotel ceilings. He began speaking in proverbs and riddles even to himself. "The man who swallows the moon must learn how to shine in darkness," he told a confused cockroach one day. The insect blinked and crawled away in silence. But something began to change. The world slowly dimmed. People forgot how to settle disputes peacefully. The youth couldn't remember the right Igbo proverbs to use in conversations. Grandparents stared at their grandchildren and wept, for the stories they once told had escaped them. Even radio presenters struggled to speak with clarity. The city itself started losing its rhythm. Market sellers argued without purpose. Teachers forgot lessons mid-sentence. It was as if the soul of understanding had left town. In the heart of Olu, a young girl named Amoka, who always listened with her heart more than her ears, noticed this strange shift. She was a student by day and a poet by night, scribbling her thoughts on the back of torn exercise books under dim fluorescent light. One morning, her grandfather failed to finish a tale about the tortoise and the lion, something that had never happened before. "Papa, what's wrong?" she asked, holding his wrinkled hands. "My child. My head is cloudy. The story left me," he said with tears in his eyes. Amoka knew then that something was terribly wrong. Determined to find the cause, she visited Mama Ozioma at Nko market, hoping to hear one of her legendary advice. But the woman just stared blankly at the sky, chewing her kola nut in silence. It was then Amoka noticed something odd. Her old calabash glowed faintly. "Mama Ozioma, where did you get this?" she asked. "It is no longer mine," The old woman replied slowly. A visitor came, not man, not beast, he took it. Amoka's eyes widened. The spider. The woman nodded, whispering, Ujoko the city spider. That evening, Amoka wrote a poem titled The Thief of Thoughts. She performed it in a poetry slam in Enugu, her words woven with pain and urgency. It went viral. Soon, others began to speak. Elders started recalling how dreams had faded. Teachers began to question why students could no longer grasp meaning beyond literal words. Across the East, a quiet movement began. The hunt for the missing wisdom was on. But Ujoko was ahead. He felt the pressure rising. They suspect, he muttered to himself in a luxury apartment ceiling in Owerri. Let me hide my treasure where no man, no god, no child can reach. So, he climbed the tallest Iroko tree in the middle of a forgotten shrine between Soka and Abakaliki. High above the city, beyond the reach of hawks and harmattan winds, he wove a web fortress, shining like silk cables, and placed the god at the highest point. Here, my empire is secure, he said. But what Ujoko forgot, what even he with all his stolen wisdom failed to understand, was that wisdom, true wisdom, is not something that can be trapped. It is a river. It flows. It rebels. It resists chains. That night, as the god rested in the spider's web, something stirred. A wind, soft and persistent, blew from the east. Whispering in the voice of old women, in the laughter of children, in the courage of the youth. It carried a secret, a whisper that even Ujoko's ears could not grasp. And it landed in Amoka's dream. She saw herself climbing the tree, dressed not in robes, but in jeans and a tie-dye hoodie, with a bag full of books and a voice full